Have you ever met someone, and in that very first moment, before a single word was spoken, something inside you became completely still? Not the stillness of emptiness, but the stillness of arrival. As if your whole life had been a long, winding road through fog and uncertainty, and suddenly, without warning, you found yourself standing somewhere that felt familiar. Somewhere your soul had always known existed, but your mind could never quite name or explain. Maybe it happened in a crowded room, surrounded by noise and laughter, and yet in that one moment, the entire world seemed to go quiet. Maybe it was a calm, ordinary morning, a glance across a cafe, a brief exchange of words, a simple hello, and something inside your chest shifted in a way it never had before. Something ancient. Something deep. Something that bypassed every logical thought in your mind and spoke directly to the part of you that exists beyond time. And in that sacred, wordless moment, something inside you whispered, "I know you. I have always known you." But then life moved on. And maybe that connection confused you, or frightened you, or broke your heart in ways you are still trying to understand. Maybe it came like a beautiful dream, and disappeared before you could hold on to it. And now, in the quiet of your own heart, you find yourself asking, why? Why did that soul enter my life? Why did it hurt so much? Is there truly someone meant for me, not by coincidence, not by chance, but by something far greater? Something written long before either of us was born? Dear friend, today, we are going to answer that question together. And what you are about to discover may change the way you understand love forever. Let us begin with an honest truth. A truth that most people are too afraid to say out loud, but that almost every sincere heart carries quietly inside. Most of us are wounded when it comes to love. Not because we are broken. Not because we are unworthy. Not because we have done something wrong. But because we were never truly taught what love is, what it is really for, what it is really doing in our lives, and why it sometimes hurts so deeply that we wonder if it was ever real at all. From the time we were young, the world gave us a very simple story about love. It told us that somewhere out there, there is a perfect person waiting for us. And if we are just attractive enough, successful enough, interesting enough, available at the right time in the right place, that person will appear. And everything will fall into place. And we will live, as the fairy tales say, happily ever after. But here is what nobody told us. Here is the truth that the world forgot to share. You do not find your soulmate the way you find a job or a house or a new city to live in. You do not stumble upon them by accident or engineer them into your life through the right strategy. No. You remember them. Deep in the chambers of your soul, in a place older than your memories and quieter than your thoughts, you already know them. And when they arrive, it does not feel like discovery. It feels like recognition. And this is exactly why love remains such a mystery for so many beautiful, sincere, deserving people. Because we are looking for something on the outside that can only be understood from the inside. Let me share a small story with you, and as I tell it, I want you to listen not just with your mind, but with your heart. Because you may find yourself in it. There was a young woman named Priya. She was kind and thoughtful and deeply spiritual. She had spent years trying to find the right partner, following advice from friends, reading books, checking compatibility, doing everything the world told her she was supposed to do. She was patient. She was sincere. And yet love always seemed to stay just slightly out of reach. One quiet evening, she found herself at a small gathering at a friend's home. She almost did not go. She was tired. She almost stayed home. But something, some small, quiet pull she could not name, told her to go. And there she met a man named Arjun. He was not what she had expected. He was not the tallest person in the room, or the most outwardly impressive, or the one who commanded attention the moment he walked in. But when he spoke, gently, thoughtfully, with a kind of stillness in his eyes that she had never seen before. Something in Priya's chest cracked open. Not painfully, but the way a flower opens. Slowly. Inevitably. As if it had always been waiting for exactly this moment. I felt, she said later, as if I had been carrying a locked door inside me my whole life. And he was the key I did not know I had been missing. But within months, things became complicated. Old fears surfaced. Past wounds began to speak louder than the present moment. Misunderstandings grew into distance. And eventually, painfully, they separated. And Priya was left sitting in the silence of her own broken heart, asking the question that millions of souls have asked across thousands of years: if he was meant for me, why did it hurt so much? Why did it fall apart? What did I do wrong? This, dear friends, is the hidden problem. Not that love does not exist. Not that soulmates are a fantasy. But that we fundamentally misunderstand what soulmate love is designed to do. We think it is designed to comfort us. But often, it is designed to transform us. Paramahansa Yogananda once offered a teaching that I want you to hold close today, close to your heart, close to your understanding. He said that there is a magnet in your heart that will attract true friends, and that magnet is unselfishness, thinking of others first, loving from the inside out rather than from the outside in. He understood, with the clarity of a truly awakened soul, that love is not a transaction between two people. It is not a performance. It is not something you earn or win or strategically attract. Love, true love, soul-level love, is a spiritual awakening. It is one of the most powerful forces through which the divine chooses to wake us up. But here is why so many of us remain confused, hurt, and searching. We live in a world that has taught us to confuse chemistry with connection. To confuse excitement with love. To confuse the electricity of attraction with the depth of a genuine soul bond. And so when we meet someone and feel that powerful, dizzying, almost overwhelming pull, the butterflies, the magnetic energy, the feeling that your whole nervous system has come alive, we immediately conclude, this must be the one. This feeling must mean something eternal. And sometimes it does. But Yogananda's wisdom gently corrects us here. He teaches that not every powerful feeling is a signal of harmony. Sometimes, and this is important, a powerful feeling is a signal of karma. Of an old unfinished story between two souls. Of a wound that has been waiting, across time and lifetimes, to finally be seen, acknowledged, and healed. Some souls enter our lives not to stay. Not to build a home with us, not to grow old beside us. But to stir something inside us that had gone too quiet. To awaken a part of us that had been sleeping. To hold up a mirror so close to our face that we can no longer avoid seeing what we have been refusing to look at. And this is not a cruel thing. This is, in fact, one of the most loving things one soul can do for another. This is why love can feel like a mystery. Because we are experiencing it from the outside, from the level of personality, circumstance, timing, and appearance. But the soul operates from a completely different dimension. A dimension where time is not linear, where choices were made before birth, and where every encounter carries meaning far deeper than it first appears. Now this is where your rising sign becomes profoundly important. Your rising sign, also called your ascendant, is the zodiac sign that was rising on the eastern horizon at the precise moment you drew your very first breath. It is not just a personality label. It is the lens through which your soul chose to experience this particular lifetime. It shapes the way you meet the world, the energy you project before you even speak a single word, and the invisible signal you send out into the universe about who you are and what you are here to experience. And contained within your rising sign, in what astrologers call the Descendant, which is the sign sitting directly opposite your ascendant, is one of the most sacred pieces of information your birth chart holds. It describes the nature, the energy, the qualities of the soul you are destined to deeply recognize. Not necessarily someone who is exactly like you, but someone whose energy completes the part of you that is still unawakened. Someone through whom your soul's deeper lessons will come alive. Someone you will not just be attracted to, but someone you will, on some level you cannot fully explain, already know. This is not superstition. This is not fantasy. This is spiritual geometry, the sacred mathematics of the soul's journey through human experience. Now, beloved, let us go deeper. Let us speak about something that sits at the very root of all our longing, all our confusion, and all the love we have ever given and received. Let us speak about karma. Many people misunderstand karma. They hear the word and think of punishment. They think karma means that if something painful is happening in their lives, it must be because they did something wrong. But this is not what karma truly is. Yogananda taught karma with extraordinary gentleness and precision. He described it simply as the law of cause and effect, applied not just to one lifetime, but to the soul's entire journey across many lifetimes, many bodies, many experiences, many lessons not yet completed. Every relationship you have ever had, every love that made you so, every heartbreak that brought you to your knees, every inexplicable connection that arrived without warning and changed you without permission, every single one of these carries the memory of a previous meeting. A previous chapter in the long, sacred story of your soul. This is why you sometimes meet a complete stranger and feel with absolute certainty, I know this person. Not their face. Not their name. But their energy. Their presence. The way they laugh or the way they go quiet or the particular quality of their stillness, and something inside you says, yes. I know this. I have been here before. This is why certain people can wound you more deeply than others, not because they are more cruel, but because they carry a key to a very old door inside your soul. A door that has needed opening for a very long time. And this is why certain relationships feel like home from the very first moment, and why leaving them, even when you know you must, feels less like losing a person and more like losing a part of yourself. Let me tell you about a man named David. David was warm, generous, and deeply loving. But he had a pattern he could not understand, no matter how many times he examined it. Every woman he fell genuinely, deeply in love with was emotionally unavailable. Not unkind. Not uninteresting. In fact, they were all extraordinary in their own ways, brilliant, beautiful, fascinating. But always just slightly out of reach. He would open his heart and they would become distant. He would move closer and they would pull back. He would love with everything he had, and somehow it was never quite enough to bring them all the way in. This happened 3 times. With 3 entirely different women, in 3 entirely different countries, in 3 entirely different chapters of his life. And each time, the pain was the same. And each time, the confusion was the same. And each time, David asked himself, why do I keep finding myself here? One evening, after years of searching for answers outside himself, David sat in quiet meditation. And in that stillness, not in a book, not in a conversation, not in a therapy session, but in the sacred silence of his own interior, a realization arrived. It was gentle. But it was undeniable. He thought, I am not attracting unavailable love because the universe is punishing me. I am recreating this pattern because somewhere deep inside me, I carry a belief I have never examined. A belief that says, I am not worthy of love that stays. I am not worthy of a love that does not require me to chase it, earn it, or prove myself deserving of it. And in that moment, the pattern finally had a name. And the moment a pattern has a name, it begins to lose its power over us. This is what Yogananda meant by sanskars, the deep impressions carried in the soul from past experiences, past choices, past wounds, perhaps even past lifetimes. These impressions act like grooves worn into an old record. And until those grooves are smoothed and healed, the soul will keep playing the same song, calling the same kind of experiences forward, attracting the same mirrors, until finally, it chooses to look honestly at what it has been running from. Your rising sign holds the map of your soul's primary groove in this lifetime. The particular pattern your soul came here either to deepen in wisdom or to finally, lovingly dissolve. And the opposite sign, your descendant, holds the description of the soul whose energy will most powerfully activate that pattern. Not to destroy you, but to call you toward your own wholeness. Let us take a quiet moment now and move through each rising sign, because I want you to hear your own soul story in these words. If you are an Aries rising, you came into this world like a flame, independent, bold, forward-moving, deeply passionate. Your primary lesson in love is stillness, patience, the sacred art of we rather than always I. And your soulmate carries the energy of Libra, beauty, balance, diplomacy, the capacity to hold two truths at once. They arrive not to slow you down, but to show you that partnership, when entered freely, does not diminish your fire. It gives it direction. If you are a Taurus rising, you move through life seeking security, beauty, and the comfort of what is solid and real. You build slowly. You love deeply and loyally. But your shadow may be that you build walls instead of homes, mistaking safety for love. Your Scorpio soul mirror arrives and asks you to go deeper than comfort. To trust the invisible. To understand that the greatest security is not in what you can hold, but in who you are willing to become. If you are a Gemini rising, your mind is your greatest gift and sometimes your greatest escape. You are curious, communicative, endlessly interested in the world of ideas. But the mind alone cannot love, it can only analyze love. Your Sagittarius soulmate arrives like a wide horizon, pulling you beyond what the intellect can contain, into the territory of wisdom, wonder, and faith. If you are a Cancer rising, you lead with the heart. You feel everything. You nurture instinctively. But sometimes, beloved Cancer rising, you give so much to others that you forget to build the structures your own life needs. Your Capricorn soul companion arrives with steady hands and long vision, to ground your depths, to hold space for your sensitivity, and to remind you that love also needs a foundation. If you are a Leo rising, you were born to shine, to create, to lead with warmth and generosity and a kind of magnificent, joyful presence that lights up every room. But the shadow of Leo rising is the hunger for recognition, the quiet fear that without the applause, you are somehow less. Your Aquarius soulmate arrives not to dim your light, but to expand it, to show you that true radiance is not performed for an audience. It is offered freely, to everyone, to all of humanity at once. If you are a Virgo rising, you seek order, precision, and the satisfaction of things done well. You carry high standards, for yourself most of all. But beneath the perfectionism often lives a tender, anxious heart that fears being found imperfect and therefore unloved. Your Pisces soulmate arrives like soft rain, dissolving the rigid edges, melting the need for control, and gently whispering, "You are already enough, exactly as you are, right now, in this imperfect and sacred moment." If you are a Libra rising, you are a natural keeper of harmony. You feel the emotional temperature of every room. You smooth things over, you seek fairness, you are gifted at seeing all sides. But sometimes, in your effort to keep the peace, you lose the thread of what you yourself truly want. Your Aries soul mirror arrives like a holy disruption, asking you to want something, to choose something, to remember that your desires are not a burden to others. They are a gift. If you are a Scorpio rising, you move through the world in depth and silence. You see beneath the surface of things effortlessly, sometimes painfully. You love with an intensity that few can fully meet. But your shadow may be that you protect yourself so completely, behind such carefully built walls, that even the truest love cannot find the door. Your Taurus soulmate arrives with warmth and patience and an extraordinary steadiness, teaching you that love does not have to be a test, a battle, or a transformation at every turn. Sometimes love is simply safe. If you are a Sagittarius rising, you were born chasing the horizon. Philosophy, travel, truth, expansion, these are the languages your soul speaks most naturally. But in your beautiful pursuit of the big picture, you may sometimes miss the sacredness hidden in the small, quiet, ordinary moments of daily life. Your Gemini soul partner arrives and asks you to slow down just enough to notice that wisdom is not only found at mountain peaks. It is also found in a conversation over morning tea. If you are a Capricorn rising, you are a builder. Patient, disciplined, long-sighted, deeply responsible. You carry the world on your shoulders sometimes without anyone noticing or asking. You may have learned early that love must be earned through achievement, through usefulness, through being reliable. Your Cancer soul mirror arrives like rain on dry ground, reminding you that you do not have to earn love. You were born deserving it. Simply by existing. Simply by being. If you are an Aquarius rising, you love ideas. You love humanity in the abstract. You carry a genuine concern for the world, for justice, for the future of all living beings. But sometimes, in loving the collective, you find it harder to love the particular. The one person, right in front of you, asking simply to be seen. Your Leo soulmate arrives and asks you to come down from the mountain of ideas, to be present, to be warm, to love not just humanity, but this one, singular, irreplaceable human being. And if you are a Pisces rising, you are the dreamer, the feeler, the one who moves through the world like water, absorbing beauty, absorbing pain, absorbing the emotional reality of everything around you. Your gift is extraordinary empathy. But your wound may be that you dissolve into others so completely that you forget where you end and they begin. Your Virgo soul companion arrives with gentle, grounded hands to help you build something real and lasting from all that you feel. To give your beautiful dream a body, a form, a home in the world. Now we arrive at the question that every listening heart is quietly holding. The question beneath all the questions. And it is simply this: how will I know? When the soul I am destined to meet finally appears, how will I recognize them? How will I be sure? Paramahansa Yogananda answered this with breathtaking simplicity. He said, when you find the right person, you will feel the God within them. Not a perfect person. Not a person without wounds, without complexity, without the full, messy, beautiful range of human imperfection. But a person through whom, despite all the layers, despite all the complexity, you feel something you can only describe as holy. Here are 5 signs, beloved. 5 ways your soul communicates to you that you are in the presence of a destined connection. Listen carefully. You may have already experienced some of these and not known what to call them. The first sign is recognition without reason. You meet this person and you already know them. Not their history. Not their habits. Not the details of their life. But something essential. Something that exists beneath all of that. You feel it in your body before your mind has formed a single thought about it. There is no logical explanation available. And for a mind trained by the modern world to demand logic, this can be deeply unsettling. But the soul does not require explanation. It simply recognizes. A woman named Sarah once kept a private journal. And one evening, she wrote these words about a man she had known for only 4 days. She wrote, "I met him on Tuesday. By Friday, I felt I had known him longer than my own life. It frightened me more than almost anything I had ever experienced. But underneath the fear, underneath the shaking, it felt like coming home to a place I had never physically visited, but had always, somehow, been from." The second sign is this: they reveal you to yourself. Your soulmate will not simply love you in the comfortable, easy, affirming way we all hope for. They will see you. They will look through the careful presentation you offer the world and reflect back to you the parts of yourself you had carefully hidden, quietly forgotten, or silently feared. This can feel like the most beautiful experience of your life. And it can also feel terrifying. Because true love, soul-level love, does not give us anywhere to hide. And hiding, for many of us, had felt very much like surviving. The third sign is that the relationship requires you to grow. This is one that many people misinterpret. We sometimes believe that if a relationship is causing us discomfort, it must mean it is wrong. But the opposite can also be true. If you have a Scorpio rising and your Taurus soul mirror enters your life, they will ask you, gently but firmly, by simply being who they are, to loosen your grip on control. To trust what you cannot verify. To stay open when every old instinct inside you says to close. That will not feel comfortable. But it will feel necessary. Like a muscle being stretched. Like a lung learning to breathe more deeply. True soulmate love always moves the soul forward. Never backward. The fourth sign is that something feels unfinished. If you have loved someone who felt like a soulmate, and that love ended, or was never fully realized, or simply did not work out the way your heart had hoped, and even now, long afterward, something in you still carries the weight and the warmth of that connection, please do not dismiss what you feel. The soul does not forget its appointments. What is genuinely unfinished between two souls will return. In this lifetime or the next. In the form and timing that most serves the growth of both. This is not false hope. This is the mechanics of karma, patient, precise, and ultimately always in service of love. The fifth sign, and perhaps the most quietly powerful of all, is this: even in the midst of storm, there is peace. When you are in a genuinely soul-destined connection, even the difficult moments, the misunderstandings, the distances, the times when nothing seems to be working, carry beneath them a strange, steady undercurrent of peace. A knowing that does not require conditions to be met before it arrives. A certainty that this connection, whatever form it takes, whatever challenges it brings, is real, is meaningful, is part of something larger than both of you. This is the signature of a soul-chosen love. Peace underneath the storm. And now, beloved, we arrive at what I believe is the most practically important part of everything we have spoken about today. Because understanding is beautiful, but understanding alone does not change a life. Action does. Inner work does. The willingness to actually do the quiet, sometimes uncomfortable, always transformative work of preparing the heart to receive what the soul is trying to send. Here is the truth that most people spend years circling around without ever quite landing on. We spend so much of our lives asking, where is my soulmate? When the truer, deeper, more life-changing question is this: am I ready to meet them? Am I actually prepared, at the level of my inner life, to receive the love that my soul is seeking? Yogananda taught with extraordinary consistency that the outer world is always a reflection of the inner world. That what we encounter in our relationships, in our love lives, in the kinds of people who keep appearing before us, these are not random. They mirror the frequency we are living from inside. If that inner world is filled with old fear, unexamined wounds, closed and defended doors, then even the most perfect, most destined soulmate cannot reach us. They may stand right in front of us. And we will not be able to let them in. So how do we prepare? How do we do this inner work? Let me offer you 4 pathways. 4 practices that, if you return to them with sincerity, will begin to shift the energy of your inner life in ways that will change the landscape of your love. The first pathway is this: heal the shadow of your rising sign. Your rising sign is not only your gift, it also carries your primary wound. The specific way in which your soul, in this particular lifetime, has learned to protect itself from pain by becoming something less than fully open. If you are a Leo rising, your wound may speak in the voice that says, I am only lovable when I am performing. When I am impressive. When I give people a reason to look at me. If you are a Virgo rising, your wound may say, I am only lovable when I am perfect. When I have done everything correctly and left no room for criticism. If you are a Pisces rising, your wound may whisper, my feelings are simply too much. Too overwhelming. Too big for other people to hold. I must make myself smaller so that I do not drive love away. Begin here. Sit with the shadow of your rising sign. Not to judge it, not to be ashamed of it, not to fix it quickly so you can move on. But to understand it. To hold it with the same gentleness you would offer a frightened child. To say to it, quietly and sincerely, I see you. I hear you. I understand why you developed. And I release you from the job of protecting me. Because I am ready now to live more openly than this old story has allowed. The second pathway is the cultivation of daily stillness through meditation. Yogananda dedicated his life to bringing the practice of Kriya Yoga to the world, a sacred, ancient technique of inner transformation through the breath and the deepening of consciousness. But even if you begin simply, even if you sit in stillness every morning for just 10 or 15 minutes, simply breathing, simply watching your thoughts without following them, simply returning again and again to the quiet beneath the noise of your own mind, you will begin to clear something. Some layer of inner static that has been making it very difficult for your soul to hear its own knowing. And in that deepening stillness, something remarkable happens. The heart begins to open. The old defenses begin to soften. And the soul becomes quiet enough to finally hear what it has been trying to tell you all along. The third pathway is perhaps the most counterintuitive, and yet it may be the most powerful. Stop searching. Start radiating. These are two completely different energies, and the universe responds to them in completely different ways. When we search desperately for a soulmate, when we look for them in every room, analyze every new person we meet for their potential, when we carry the quiet, constant ache of not yet having found them, we are projecting outward the frequency of lack, of incompleteness, of something missing. And what we project, we attract. We begin to draw toward us experiences that mirror exactly that sense of lack, relationships that feel almost right but not quite, connections that come close but do not stay, patterns that repeat the familiar feeling of reaching for something just beyond our grasp. But when we shift, when we begin to live from a place of inner fullness, of genuine engagement with our own lives, our own purpose, our own creativity and joy and service to others, we become something entirely different. We become, in the truest sense, a signal. A soul broadcasting its readiness not from desperation but from abundance. And like a lighthouse standing steady in the dark, the one who is meant for us begins, without either of us fully understanding how, to navigate toward our light. The fourth pathway is forgiveness. Real forgiveness. Not the performance of it. Not the version where we say the words but keep the wound carefully tended beneath the surface. Real forgiveness, of every soul who loved you imperfectly. Of every person who came into your life and hurt you, disappointed you, left you, or simply could not meet you at the depth you were offering. They were not failures. They were not mistakes. They were teachers, arriving in the form most likely to deliver the precise lesson your soul most needed in that chapter of its journey. They came to sand the rough edges. To crack open the places that had gone too hard. To reveal, through the pain of their impact, exactly where your healing was waiting for you. And this, Yogananda taught, is one of the highest spiritual practices available to us, to see the divine hand in every person who has ever touched your life. Even the ones who caused you your greatest pain. Because they, too, were instruments of a love far larger than either of you could fully see at the time. And now, dear friend, we arrive at the heart of everything. The still center around which every word spoken today has been quietly turning. The deepest truth, the one that, if you are willing to truly receive it, will not just change how you think about love, but will change how you live. your rising sign, your descendant, your soulmate journey, the karma you carry, the patterns you repeat, the inexplicable connections that have arrived and departed and left their mark upon your soul, none of this is ultimately about finding another person. All of it, every last sacred and painful and beautiful piece of it, is about becoming whole within yourself. Paramahansa Yogananda taught something that I want you to sit with in silence for a moment after I say it. He taught that at the deepest level of our being, beneath the personality, beneath the ego, beneath the accumulated story of who we believe ourselves to be, there is no division, no separation, no incomplete half wandering the earth in search of its missing piece. At the level of the soul, at the level of pure consciousness, we are already whole. We are already, in the most profound sense, one with everything. One with the divine. One with the source of all love that has ever existed or ever will. The longing we feel for a soulmate, that aching, tender, sometimes almost unbearable longing that lives in the chest and rises in the quiet of the night, is not, at its root, a longing for another human being. It is the soul's longing for itself, for its own wholeness, for its own divine nature, for the memory of what it truly is beneath all the forgetting. And the human beloved, your soulmate, your twin flame, the one whose rising sign mirrors and completes your own, is a sacred doorway. Not a destination. A doorway. When we look into their eyes and feel that inexplicable shock of recognition, when we feel in their presence something ancient and holy and quietly overwhelming, we are, in that moment, catching a glimpse of the divine looking back at us through a human face. We are experiencing, through the vehicle of human love, a small taste of the infinite love that is our true home. This is why love can feel like prayer. This is why the mystics across all traditions, across Hinduism and Christianity and Sufism and every sincere spiritual path humanity has ever walked, have used the language of divine love and human love almost interchangeably. Because they are not two different things. They are two expressions of the same one thing. Let me leave you with a final story. A story about a man who spent 40 years searching for his soulmate. He was a good man. A sincere man. He traveled widely and loved genuinely. He was hurt, sometimes deeply, and he healed, and he loved again, and he was hurt again, and he healed again. He brought his whole heart to every relationship he entered. And yet somehow, the completeness he was looking for never quite arrived in the form he expected. In his 70th year, sitting alone in a small garden as the sun rose over a distant row of trees, something shifted in him. Something quietly and permanently gave way. And in the stillness of that early morning, he finally understood something he had been circling his entire life. Every person he had ever loved had been a soulmate. Not all in the romantic sense, but in the truest and deepest sense. Every single one of them had shown him something essential about himself that he had needed to see. Every heartbreak had been a carving, patient, precise, sometimes painful, sculpting him slowly into someone more capable of genuine love. More capable of presence. More capable of receiving as freely as he had always given. And in that understanding, sitting in that small garden with the light coming in sideways and the birds beginning their morning conversation, he felt complete. Not because someone had finally arrived to complete him, but because he finally understood, with every cell of his being, that he had never actually been incomplete. He had only believed that he was. And that belief had been the only thing, standing between him and the love he had been searching for his entire life. Love is not a destination, beloved. It is a direction. And the direction is always inward, and upward, and home. Your rising sign is not a cage. It is a lantern. It illuminates the path your soul chose, the lessons it came to learn, the love it came to give and receive, and the particular quality of mirror it needs in order to finally, completely see itself. Whatever your rising sign. Wherever you are in your love journey today, whether you are waiting with hope, healing from loss, newly opened, or quietly wondering if love will ever truly arrive, hear this with your whole heart. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. The universe is not indifferent to your longing. The soul you are destined to meet is part of a plan far more intelligent, far more loving, and far more patient than anything your anxious mind has been able to imagine. And as Yogananda reminded us with such tender certainty, seek first the kingdom of God within. Turn toward the light inside yourself. Deepen your stillness. Heal your wounds. Offer your love freely, without condition and without keeping score. Become, through your own inner work and your own sincere practice, the person that your destined soulmate is also becoming ready to meet. And then trust. Trust with the kind of trust that does not require a guarantee. The kind of trust that is itself a form of love. May your heart grow quiet enough to hear its own deepest knowing. May your love, for yourself, for others, for this extraordinary, impermanent, impossibly beautiful life, only deepen with every passing day. And may you always, always remember, you were never truly alone. You were only, for a little while, in the process of remembering the way home. I would like to leave you with one quiet question to carry into the rest of your day. Think of one person in your life, past or present, who changed you in a way that no one else could. Who showed you something about yourself that you could not have seen without them. Who left a mark on your soul that time has not erased. Could they have been one of your destined teachers? Could their arrival in your life have been not an accident, but an appointment? Sit with that question. Let it move through you gently. And if this journey today touched something real in you, please share it with someone who is walking a difficult love path right now. A piece of wisdom offered at the right moment can be a lantern in someone's darkest hour. And if you are not yet part of this community of sincere seekers, we would be deeply honored to have you. Subscribe, not as a gesture toward us, but as a small, quiet act of commitment to your own soul's growth. And leave us a comment below. Tell us your rising sign. Tell us whether what you heard today resonated somewhere true inside you. We read every word. We honor every heart that finds its way here. Until we meet again, in stillness, in love, in the light that never goes out. Dear friend, before you go, I want you to take just one slow, deep breath with me. Breathe in everything you have heard today. And breathe out anything that has been weighing on your heart. Because what you have just experienced is not simply a video. It was an invitation. An invitation from your own soul to see your life, your love, and your journey through the eyes of something much greater and much wiser than fear. You came here today for a reason. Nothing in the universe is accidental. And if even one word spoken here landed somewhere true inside you, if even one moment made you feel a little less alone in your longing, a little more hopeful about the love that is still ahead of you, then this conversation has done exactly what it was always meant to do. Now I have a small and sincere request for you. In the comments below, I want you to write your rising sign and tell us honestly, from your heart, which part of today's journey resonated most deeply with you. Was it the story of Priya and Arjun? Was it your rising sign's soulmate description? Was it the teaching about karma and inner patterns? Or perhaps the reminder that you were never truly incomplete? Write it down. Your words may become the exact comfort that another soul searching these comments desperately needs to find today. And tell me, what would you like us to explore together next? What question is your heart carrying that you have not yet found a true and honest answer to? Write it below. Your request may become our next journey together. If this touched your heart, please share it gently with someone you love. And until we meet again, in stillness, in truth, in the infinite love that holds us all. Jai Guru Dev.